guys, Hillary here from Old World Home. In today's video, I wanted to kind of give you a recap of all of the nursery progress that we have made kind of from day one. I have been filming little bits here and there all along, and I wanted to just compile them in one video so I can give you like an overview of what we've tackled so far in the nursery and plans we have going forward. One of the projects we had planned from day one when we knew we wanted to turn this room into a nursery was to update the lighting in here. We used to have an old ceiling fan that had the light attached with it, and we never used the fan, and we didn't really like the style of it. We always knew we were going to change it out, and we always knew that we wanted to add a dimmer to the room. So we are really excited to be partnering with Lutron on today's video to share how you can super easily install a dimmer switch in your home. It literally took Dan about 15 minutes to install the entire thing, and we had kind of a tricky light fixture to begin with. It wasn't a traditional style light fixture because it was attached to a fan. In our last house, we actually did also switch out the light fixture for a dimmer, and we loved having that in the nursery because you're going in there so often in the middle of the night. We don't want to just flick the light on and have it be super bright in the middle of the night, blind you, blind your baby, possibly wake them up. It's just so nice to have control over the light in a nursery especially, but dimmers are awesome for so many other rooms. Now we kind of want to put them in every room, honestly. We would actually really love to add it to our dining room. I feel like that light could definitely use a dimmer, but anyways, that's another project for another day. So let me go ahead and start you from the beginning and show you my process with the board and batten, kind of a little bit of a how-to, and then show you how we updated the lighting as well. I chose to use MDF for our board and batten because it's inexpensive and easy to work with. I used a 3.5-inch width for the horizontal board, 2.5 for the vertical, and a 1.5 for the baseboard and ledge. Since the MDF comes in 8-foot lengths, I didn't stress about how tall I wanted my board and batten to be. I simply cut them in half, which turned out to be a perfect height. To begin the project, I needed to find the center point on each of my walls, so I measured the width and divided that number in half to give me my center. Then I found the center point in one of my 2.5-inch vertical boards and lined it up with the center wall mark. So something you have to figure out when you're doing board and batten is how the vertical pieces are going to line up with your baseboard. If you have existing molding like we do that has like this decorative trim on top, when you put the vertical piece up against it, you can see there's like a major overhang that happens. Now when you're standing up, it's not super noticeable and you could get away with it. I would rather not do that. I would rather it be a little more seamless. You could cut them at a 45 so that they just sort of angle down and look a little more intentional, and they will blend in a little better with this type of baseboard. But what we're going to do is actually take this thinner trim that's actually going to be the ledge of our board and batten and put that all along the baseboard on top of what we have here already. That way this piece can sit on top and be perfectly flush, and it'll look a little bit more intentional. You can see here how that 1.5-inch board creates a nice finished border across the baseboards on which the vertical boards can rest. After finding the center of each wall, I simply divided that number by how many sections I wanted on the wall. For example, I divided that 59.5-inch center number by 3 to give me the center points for each of the 3 vertical boards that would go on either side. I made sure to use my level on each board before nailing them in place to be sure that the room would look cohesive and level all the way around. Again, I chose a 3.5-inch width for the top of my board and batten and staggered my nail holes about every 6 to 8 inches. After all of my vertical and horizontal boards were installed, I went back with more of the 1.5-inch boards to add a clean little ledge across the top. This step is certainly optional, but I think this gives a nice finished look to the room and a place to actually rest a photo or some other decorative element. Again, this lends a more casual, almost shaker style to the room. So as you can see, this is the current state of the nursery. It's a little bit crazy, not gonna lie. The board and batten is not finished, but I'm hoping to work on that today. I had my husband help me with a couple of the boards that met a outlet on the wall. So I installed all of these myself but I needed his help to cut out like a little opening because it pretty much goes right next to this outlet here. So he cut that for me, and I'm gonna, you know, the whole thing will be painted together so it won't be so like obvious, but there was really no other way to get around that outlet and still keep the same spacing. So he did that on this board, and then there's a couple others. I think there was one on this wall. He had to do it because of that fixture. We do have a hole that we need to patch because another board is gonna go right in the middle of that opening. So we do need to patch that and get that finished. That board meets another outlet, but luckily it goes in the middle, so I just need to cut a top. I basically need to cut a chunk out of the center so that it can go on top and below that outlet. Alright, so I filled in all of the nail holes with spackle, and I just used my finger to do that. It makes it really simple. You don't have to bother with a tool, and you can really feel how smooth everything is when you can, you know, rub it in with your finger. But now for all of the seams and all of the longer cracks, I'm going to use this fast drying latex caulking, and that goes along all of the seams, along the top of the baseboards, the vertical ones, and all underneath where this ledge is. Basically every single crack needs to be caulked. So Dan got the old ceiling fan out with my brother, and this is the new fixture that's going in. I found this on Amazon. I liked how the dark, like, I don't know, bronzy color, it's basically black, ties in with the light fixtures that we have in the dining room and kitchen. This one, there were a couple different styles on Amazon, and this one came with like an antique brass trim at the top, which I'm not sure if I really love it, but I figured it's easy enough to paint if I don't. But this one was like $10 or $15 cheaper than the other one I was looking at on Amazon. So I figured if I just need to paint that, it's no big deal. So that's the new fixture that's going in. So this is the old switches that we had on the wall because there's a ceiling fan. It was one for light, one for the fan, and we're swapping it out for this dimmer, which is pretty cool because you can click up and down how bright you want it to be, and it'll show the little lights here, and then when you turn it on, it'll be at the level you set it, and off and so on. So Dan is looking over the instructions right now, and hopefully this won't take too long. So while he works on that, I'm gonna keep working on doing the caulking on all of the seams on the board and batten. Alright, so Dan got it installed. Didn't take very long at all, but it's the moment of truth. He went to go get some light bulbs so that we could test out the light fixture and see if it works. And I have to say, seeing this in person now, I kind of like the brass accent at the top. It's very subtle, and it ties in with the actual light plate, is kind of the same brassy finish. So I think that that's kind of nice, but we'll see it all together. Okay, we got it completely installed. Dan's amazing. He just knows how to do these things that I don't know how to do, but it's pretty cool. So you can sort of lower the brightness. You can see the walls getting darker. And then when you turn it off completely and turn it back on, it'll stay at the dimness that you set it. So that's so cool. So I can keep it really low for like if we're going in here in the middle of the night kind of thing. Turn it off, and it still stays a little bit illuminated so you know what the level is before you turn it on. And then we can put it all the way bright. Very cool. So this is the box that came in, again, by Lutron. It's the Maestro IR. These dimmers can actually be purchased on Amazon, of course. Everything can, and I'll link it down below. But you can also find them in stores at Home Depot and Lowe's. So I am just so happy to have this done. It's definitely something we wanted to do. So the light fixture is mostly, you know, the base is up there. We just need to now put the cover on and get a second bulb, but we're just using regular bulbs. It said on the box, which is somewhere over here, they recommend using the Edison style bulbs, but those just always look a little too yellow for me, for my liking. I like how it looks, but the actual light it gives off I'm not crazy about. So we're just using regular lights up there. So yeah, I'm so happy not to have that big honkin' ceiling fan anymore. The Lutron dimmers give you 250 different light levels, so you can get the perfect light, whether that's to read a book at bedtime, have a romantic dinner, or just customize it to fit whatever needs you have in that room. The other neat thing about these dimmers is that they come in over 20 different colors. Now I know white is probably the most popular for most people, but they have actually a couple different shades of white depending on what you have in your home. Or if you have colored walls, they have a lot of different colors that can match your decor. So that is kind of the nursery progress so far. You guys already saw that I took out those white cabinets. I took down the mirror from our closet door. We plan to change out those doors and just replace them all together. Yes, I could paint them, but I just feel like it's gonna be so much nicer to have a fresh new door, especially the hallway door. So if we're gonna replace that one, I think we're just gonna replace the closet door as well. We also need to update the window treatments in the room. There's no blinds or shades or curtains or anything, so we definitely need to do that as well. And then it's time to paint and accessorize, and that's of course the most exciting part. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing the progress that we've made so far. I hope this gives you guys some encouragement or some inspiration to tackle projects in your own home. A lot of times we put these things off because we think they're gonna take a lot of time, like updating your lighting, but that can really take you like an hour tops, and it makes such an impact in your everyday life because we all have to use our lights, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll be talking to you soon. Bye.